Ladies and gentlemen, you are now listening to the Talking Nonsense About Impact Wrestling podcast. Cross the line in 3, 2, 1.
Hello everyone, welcome to episode 55 of the Talking Nonsense About Impact Wrestling podcast. My name is Jeff, and alongside me are the Braun Strowman and Buddy Murphy to my Bray Wyatt. It's Max and Craig, everyone. What's going on, guys?
I'm Buddy Murphy. I'm just calling out right now.
I wouldn't expect anything less.
For anyone who might be wondering.
So I guess I should make some train noises then?
Oh, hey, Cody, what's going on? Yeah, guys, so got a bunch of things to talk about. Obviously, that was a teaser of what may come. But I already got the topics up. That's how excited we are. But first, if you guys saw the intro screen, is something we'll be changing around with the show. Last week we started on episode 54. The answer to the trivia question on episode 54 was Tigre Uno. And then this one is about Mickie James holding the belt 3 times, but there's been 3 individual knockouts who have held it 1 time for more dates. Kind of weird. But yeah, answer that. You can send it to us at TNAIW channel or just right here in the comments section. But last week's answer was Tigre Uno. Max, I don't know. We haven't asked in a while. We don't have a cool little graphic, but what you watching?
Right now, I am about to try and catch up. Well, I was going to be watching Dynamite, but we're starting. So I'm just watching us today. I'm focusing solely on us. Not going to watch anything else. My Steelers lost last night, so I'm obviously not going to rewatch that game.
By the Jags, right?
Yeah.
Tony Khan. No.
Panthers.
Same
Panthers.
animal, right?
Yeah, the Dwayne Twain did not perform very well.
Oh,
Dwayne
yeah,
Haskins.
I know.
But hey, you know.
All right, Craig. Let's. We have a lot. Like I said, we have a lot to talk about. We got a game at the end. It's not really going to be a game. Just kind of us talking it out about BFG. We did this earlier in the month. Want to do it again because of all the stuff popping up, the rumors and innuendo, and see if we could put together what we really think the BFG is going to be. Not our wish, but what we could see happening. And I guess I should mention as well, I know Craig obviously is co-starring it. State of Impact, 2nd episode is crushing it. Thank you guys so much. We're going to keep doing it every Tuesday, 8 to 10 minutes, and you get all of your one-stop Impact needs for the week, or at least at that point. And then you don't have to spend the time on your phone. You can just go yell at trolls or whatever you do. Craig, why don't you hit us up with some by the numbers? The numbers don't lie, and then we'll get right into it.
So, yes, it's me. It's the MIC Craig, aka Mr. Impact, for the TNAIW channel. And as if you didn't know already, you can find us here, you can find us there, you can find us down there, everywhere. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Sounder, Spotify, wherever else you podcast. As you can see to the side of me, I've got this. No, I haven't this time. Camera's wrong, okay? Camera's messed up.
Hey, I did it.
But yes. Yay!
It's easy for me because it's just right below me. So.
Okay, so I got this time. Okay, good to know. Yeah, the numbers are great. We are up. We finally passed that 200 mark on YouTube in terms of the subscribers. So thank you. Audio is great. I believe Twitch is staying the same. Twitter, we're up.
Yeah. No, we're up 34. Yeah, we're up 34. We the numbers are looking good. Yeah, as Craig said with the 200. I'm sorry, I didn't know you couldn't see it. I'll just send that to you before the show. But 202, we're finally over 200 subscribers. That's awesome. I know that was our Slammiversary goal, but once again, it's one fan at a time, one friend at a time, and we really mean that mantra. A lot of new faces and names writing us or contacting us or adding us via Twitter or the podcast or the YouTube. We thank you all for listening. But I will give the Craig, we'll call him the Craig, followers is because he takes care of the audio, I take care of the YouTube. So Craig's numbers are way up, 10 over my YouTube listeners or watchers. So let's make that a feud. Craig, you want to talk a little about kind of where we're going and what we're doing with the show before we get into power rankings?
Yes, so a few changes coming to the show soon. Make it easier for you guys so you spend less time and just enjoy what we do instead of having to wait around for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, time's changing, but still with the same old nonsense that you know and love.
Yeah, for sure.
It's
Just tightened up. It just,
different.
I think, especially as Impact gets bigger and we gain some steam here, our goal is to give you, as Craig alluded to, a fast, easy, more fun, clean listening experience. So we're, to be more specific, we're going to drop off the last 30 minutes. We'll take your guys, what's going on, guys, in the chat, lighting up. Take off the last 30 minutes. So either we're going to be 8 to 9. We're going to take your guys' feedback before we make the decision, or 7:30 to 8:30. It'll be an hour show, 60 minutes, maybe a few minutes over there for penalty time. But we'll have an hour show, and then we'll have a new show that's about playing games with each other and adding you guys onto there. So let us know how you feel about that and what 30 minutes you would like us to take off. Thank you for the 200 subscribers. Hey. All right. Let's kick it to power rankings. I'll do that if that's okay, Craig. And then when we come back, it's all you, my friend. Here are the power rankings.
Hi everyone, this is Tatara from Rangers of Wrestling. Here's your TNAIW Top 10 for this week. Number 10, The Death Machine, Sami Callihan. Number 9, Chris Sabin. Number 8, The Influence. Number 7, number 1 contender Ace Austin. Number 6, X Division Champion Josh Alexander. Number 5, Tag Team Champions The Good Brothers. Number 4, Champ Deonna Purrazzo. Number 3, Rich Swann and Willie Mack. Number 2, The Bullet Club's Chris Bay. Number 1, World Champion Christian Cage. That was your top 10 Impact Wrestlers of the week. Do you agree? Let us know at TNAIW channel. Back to you guys.
All right. Do we agree?
Well, Christian Cage is on a streak at the minute.
Craig,
Is that 3 weeks in a row?
Yeah, it's the most we've had in quite a long time. Yeah, Kenny Omega as
The disrespect shown towards Kenny Omega, who I think got there one time his entire run.
You are in the Power Rankings committee, and how many times have you voted?
You know, I just like most Americans, I prefer not to vote and then complain about the results not fitting my views of what should happen.
Oh man.
Oh, I'm moving on. I guess it's time.
Yeah, let's get into hot topics. We'll let you take it over, Craig. I do want to make a mention because we got off subject. Thank you again. She's actually in the chat room. There you go. I was gonna tell her how you could follow her, but she's right there. Give her a follow there on if she has a Twitch, but also at Twitter. It's the same handle. And yeah, she does an awesome Power Ranger show and wrestling as well. Really dope. Two of my favorite things in the world. So, and I want to say thank you to everyone that's saying I found you on YouTube today. I didn't know you had Twitch. Awesome. Every Saturday we do this, and then it goes on YouTube and audio on Sunday. All right, Craig. Now it's yours, buddy.
All right. So it's time for those hot topics. Kicking off with this week's Impact on Access TV and Impact Insiders, YouTube Insiders, whatever it's called. We kicked off with Chris Sabin defeating Sami Callihan before a post beatdown by Moose, with Eddie Edwards making the save to help Sami Callihan. Then we had Deonna Purrazzo interrupting Mickie James to hype up her match for tonight at NWA Empower. Then we had Chris Bay defeating David Finlay. Yes, make sure I got that right. Christian Cage making his appearance in the Impact Zone again before, not so much interrupted, but Tommy Dreamer making an appearance, and then the number one contender Ace Austin making his presence felt, and with a little scuffle going between those four. We also had the debuting influence, Madison Rain, Tino Dashwood, and Caleb Whitaker defeating Taylor Wilde in a 3-on-1 handicap match. And in the main event, Rich Swann and William Mack defeated the Good Brothers with probably the 5th roll-up of the night. And with the post-match beatdown by the Good Brothers with Magic Killer and tables, it certainly was an interesting show. Let's kick it off with Max thoughts and feelings and match of the night, moment of the night.
Overall, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good show. I had watching on Reddit, or not watching on Reddit, but I read on Reddit that people, I guess, had issues on watching on YouTube. Do you watch it through YouTube?
I do.
Were there issues?
There were, but they were due to on YouTube's end.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I just read. I seen it. I obviously watched through Access TV, so I didn't see my issues. But overall, I thought it was a good episode. I really liked it. My favorite match was Chris Bay, David Finlay, just because I'm a big fan of Chris Bay, and I like the fact he's in the Bullet Club, or in Bullet Club. It does one minor complaint is when they announce him, it's not representing the Bullet Club. It's representing Bullet Club. There's no in their name. They're not the Violent by Design. It's just Bullet Club. It's a very small annoyance, but when I heard it, I'm like, they're just Bullet Club.
The Batman.
But hey, that's yeah. I did find interesting with Willie Mack and them winning. Obviously, I don't know the matchups for the next. Not a pay-per-view, but I guess it's the next event. But I think that's definitely leading to something. If Willie Mack and Rich Swann are the ones that eventually take the title from the Good Brothers, I really like them as a tag team. I like them together. It's weird. They have matching gear, which I think is important for tag teams. And I also think with the whole Taylor Wilde versus the IInspiration thing, I feel like that's leading to 2 other people showing up to help her. I'm not sure who it could possibly be. Maybe there's some Australian violence that could potentially happen at some point. We'll talk about that later. But I do like that they're setting up this 3 versus 1 because it once again, Impact has been really good for a long time at long-term booking stuff.
Right.
So whether they know Iconics are showing up or not, even if it's somebody else, there's still long-term booking that's making you wonder or kind of getting you to talk about, it's a 3-on-1. Well, she's going to add 2 people. Oh, there's 2 people out there. So I think that's really well done, and I like that. Overall, I thought it was a good episode. I think things are moving in a good direction towards everything. I'm interested to kind of as more things continue to happen and flesh up towards Bound for Glory. Obviously, I'm excited about that because once those matches really start taking shape is when I'm going to get super excited about things. But overall, I like what's going on. I like that with Chris Bay there, I like that there's still a Bullet Club story going on here. So I think that makes it also interesting because it continues to make you wonder what other New Japan people are going to come in. What other New Japan crossover are we going to see? So overall, really good episode. Definitely enjoyed it. So.
So I think your attitude towards you didn't say they were coasting, but Bound for Glory after Victory Road is the hype, so that's when you will get more excited. And I felt that's what this episode was just a transitional episode. I'll twist it and say it in the nicest way that I feel like saying it, but I can't. This show is about transparency and unbiased. We pride ourselves on that, and for me, this was a okay episode. There were a lot of things that make me feel like I want to say it was a great episode because how can you not turn on your television and Christian Cage or Chris Bay or Bullet Club or Good Brother, any of that not make you happy as an Impact fan? But I think our expectations are getting higher as they should. obviously the music during the things, and I explained this to the group of why they do it. It's they use that "We Own the Night" to hide the audio issues during the thing, because the sound obviously have much going on at the same time, is what I imagine. But they need to get that fixed, because now that people are starting to harp on it, it's like, oh, it's eating at me as well. Before I would let it pass. Now I do want to answer Hakeem's thing first. Get out the negative, move on to the positive. As far as Tommy Dreamer goes, if he wins, my attitude will be different. But Tommy Dreamer right now is our Terry Funk. And I say that all the time of how he was in ECW, which means no one in ECW really thought at the time that Terry Funk ever had the chance to beat one of the younger guys. Did he eventually? Yeah, he did. So of course Tommy's going to pull one out once in a while. But this ain't it. Ace Austin is going over. It's going to be Ace versus Christian. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I can't see Tommy Dreamer being thrust into it when they're trying to develop Ace Austin. I think he's more of a bump in the road for Ace's journey. So with that being said, I'm okay with that. But that promo, Christian, Ace, Tommy, I'll never turn off the TV on Impact. But Jesus Christ, excuse my language. Man, it looked like they were all phoning it in. Ace looked lost, and I love Ace. I said it from my personal account, and I've saved it from that day forward when he first debuted. I think Ace Austin is the best prospect we've ever had, or that we've had since AJ Styles. That will be homegrown. Now you could say Chris Bay and eventually Trey, but right now, or at that time, that's how I felt, and I really feel like that. But I think this is more him getting his feet wet than it is giving him his run. And then I hope that's the case. I still think he could be the youngest champion of all time in a year, right? I don't know when AJ won technically, but yeah, take a look at that. Or actually take a look at the TNA lineage, not the NWA. Just because I'm sure they'll go over that. And AJ was obviously a little bit older when he held the TNA one. But as far as the show goes, there was a lot of hits. Christian Cage obviously being on there. Anytime you hear that music on Impact, I'm not gonna complain. Besides the promo, yeah, his Peeps section, it was wonderful there. I really liked the tag team there, the spotlight on tag team wrestling that we feel has been missing, or a lot of people complain about, oh, the tag teams isn't as big of a focal point. Well, the last 2 weeks especially, it's all been about that in the main event, so I dig that. And I dig this serious Good Brothers approach. I really do. They're getting back to that. I will eat everything Kimberly and Sue Young do with a spoon. I'll eat it up. It doesn't matter. That shit was great. I'm into that kind of stuff, and when executed right and written right, I think it's a nice addition to the show. So I really dug that. Brandy Loren. Here's the thing, and I'll touch on Max's what he already said, because he's 100% correct that Impact is the number one wrestling, and I'll die on that hill, number one wrestling promotion when it comes to long-term storytelling or thinking things out and tying up knots or loose ends. Because if Brandy Loren was only there for one taping, one episode, to put over, who was it? Taylor Madison? I can't remember who she fought. Melina. If that was the case, then this was one hell of a way to write her out of being back. If it's for her storyline and she's going to become an undead bridesmaid as well, dope. But either way, they closed out the gap for people who like Brandy Loren and want to know where the hell she goes after she lost to Melina in a squash. So I like the little things like that. I'm noticing more and more of the little big things, as we call them, that this new management or creative or whoever's in charge is doing. Bay's entrance, little big thing that matters. It showed his logo for the Bullet Club, which you could see in the bottom right as well.
Which is awesome.
Awesome. He also has the one at Pro Wrestling Tees. So, man, it's their branding, their storytelling. They're getting there. I want to see what we could do afterwards. I have one more thing that I did want to mention. You mentioned who's going to save Taylor. Yeah, I mean, my original idea a couple weeks ago was that inspiration versus influence. That makes a lot of sense, right? The influence, the inspiration. 3-on-2, it fills the gap. But then Jordan and Rachel came out and made the save. this week. Could that be a short-term Victory Road thing, and then they lose, and she still needs help, Taylor Wilde, and then that's when we see the inspiration? I don't know. I'm not really sold on them coming to us anymore, but we'll see. We'll see as time tells. But the one thing I do need to mention, Brian Myers. For anyone who's sour or not sure about Brian Myers, even after that pay-per-view and the promo before it, give this man, put some respect on this man's name. One, he's expanding the group, which is what I always said he should do, because there's two people posing like this. There needs to be someone else. And no spoilers, but obviously people are sending in interviews or trying to get what is it called? Not interviews, tryouts, open tryouts for to join his little group. But I really love the vignettes of most professional wrestler, and he's teaching him how to cut his shirt and shit like that. And then they edit it so perfectly to be where you would know Brian would be yelling at Sam. They just cut it out. It's such cool stuff that I don't feel like we would see a year ago. And I thought a year ago we were on the incline, and we still are. But yeah, so overall, I think it was a B- show for me. But still good, still much better than a lot of the stuff out there.
So AJ was 32 when he won the TNA title.
Well,
he was 26 when he won the NWA title.
Well, as he's saying there, Tessa might be the youngest then, for the lineage that we're talking about.
Yeah. Ace has a few months to do. I think Tessa's like 23 and 8 months, and Ace is 23 and 5 months. I think he's got 3 months left to do it.
So he would need to win it at Victory Road to make that happen.
Pretty much. He might make it back for Glory, but I don't think he'll make it.
No, that's
Glory.
October 23rd. We should look at that. Let's look into that. All right, what do we got, buddy?
Yes, moving on to number 2, Corgan's comments. Billy Corgan has had a fair bit to say over the last few weeks, starting off with how NWA acquired Kylie Rae's contract, just saying that Kylie Rae is a star, which undoubtedly she is, and needs that. NWA is the perfect place for her, which again I can't help but agree, and also how Mickie James was the reason NWA and Impact now have this working relationship, and praising Impact, saying they've been good partners in this relationship. Go back 2 years, and Billy Corgan saying that NWA will never work with Impact. How do we see this playing out? Do we see a more cohesive NWA and Impact, or is this just is Deonna becoming like a thank you for Impact for giving Kylie Rae the contract? Jeff?
Here's a couple things. That's a lot of information to dissect, but with the Kylie thing, I've said we've all said it since day one that mental health is important, more important than a wrestling program. If that small venue in her hometown is the better for her, and then obviously tonight we obviously have, if you're watching us live, it is Empower tonight. So I'm sure that's going great. And I hope, even though it's in St. Louis, right? Is it in St. Louis as well? It's all 4 days there. That I hope she made the trip. I hope everything's great. I hope her anxieties and whatever else is intact. Good for her. Want nothing but the best for her. But we had said that she was under contract with Impact until she wasn't. I know it was debated and people didn't think we were being honest, but that's the truth. We knew that she was still under contract. We knew they were taking care of her. And now we know that this was the better option for her, a sense of for her mental well-being, and nothing but respect for her. That being said, I think Impact did that out of the love for Kylie Rae, not so much for Billy Corgan. And as much as it pained me to hate Billy Corgan I don't hate anyone, but dislike Billy Corgan a lot. It took a lot because I'm a fan of the Smashing Pumpkins. I had been since youth. Not like I'm gonna go wear their shirts or anything, but or draw them on my notebook. But I liked him. So when he came to Impact, I thought it was cool. He brought the music and all that, and then obviously his little time frame there. The era of Corgan was the drizzling shits to me. I'm not a big fan. So as far as Deanna going there, does it lead to something more? Probably. But we do have Mickey there. I think I'll touch on that when we do our BFG thing. But I can see this more as Impact just doing well by Kylie first, and then now just building a bridge again. I don't think it leads to the NWA coming to Impact. I said this before, and I'll say it again. The only way I want NWA in Impact is if we have a spin-off show and it's back to NWA TNA. Because I don't want to compare the situation to AEW and Impact. I don't believe it's like that. But from some AEW personnel and fans' perspective, it is. And it's this, which is, don't disrespect NWA. I'm very NWA. I'm proud of what they're doing. I love that more wrestling's out there for people that love it. I love the brand NWA. I'm a sucker for nostalgia, but they don't have anything to offer us. And I know people say Nick Aldis, and obviously I'm not the biggest fan, but I don't know. I think anytime you could fix a bridge or repair a bridge before we're about to take off, the better. But I just can't see what the people we're talking about at the beginning of the show, and that we're going to definitely talk about at number 4, having them on our roster, that there's, I'm sorry, Aaron Rex, Tyrus, we're good. Now, the Pope, Bram, there's people that I fuck with, but besides the championships and Pope, yeah, that's where I'm at. But yeah, no, I'm happy to repair that relationship. It's always better when everyone at least can get along, and it can leave up open possibilities for who knows. So
if given the option between NWA, the rap group, and NWA, the wrestling promotion, I'd much rather Impact team up with NWA, the rap group.
I'm saying.
But but that's probably not going to happen. So I'll take what I can get. Personally, I think that the reason why NWA is looking to partner with both Impact and AEW is they're looking at the landscape, and they're realizing, okay, with this Forbidden Door stuff, if Impact and AEW are going to start working together, and New Japan's going to start working with these companies, if we don't get in there, I know they've worked with AEW for a while. At least their women have. They've had some stuff there, but if they don't get into this group and continue and actually start trading people and growing and working together, they're eventually just going to be phased out. And I think that's why you're going to see ROH as well eventually come into the fold, because when you have your biggest promotions outside of WWE saying, hey, let's all work together. If you're not in there, you're going to be screwed. Like, let's imagine if the Canadian Football League, the XFL, they all started working together. Like, your one little regional football league is going to make it. So I think that's why they're doing it. But I was trying to look to see who's on their roster to see if there was anybody I wanted. And unfortunately, on their website, they don't even have their roster, which is pretty sad. So I honestly have no clue who's actually in NWA outside of Mickey James, and I guess you just said the Pope.
And Melina, obviously.
Melina, yeah. So, but I mean, so do I think they can help us? I mean, I'm sure there's probably some interesting matchups there. Nick Aldis, I know you don't like him. Realistically, as horrible as it is, I wouldn't mind seeing like him versus like whoever our champions at the time, whether it's Christian or somebody else, with our champion winning. I don't want to see our champion lose to him. I would maybe like a Josh Alexander versus Nick Aldis, with Josh Alexander winning that. I know it's not Impact, but I do think Kenny Omega eventually, had he continued his belt collector storyline, I think him winning the NWA championship would have been interesting. Yeah. But I mean, to me, I think that they want to work with Impact because they realize that if they're going to grow, they have to work with Impact. You can only be mad for so long. It's similar to Vince. Vince hates you. He hates people. He gets, they get at it, and then he realizes this person can make me money, and then it's come on back. I don't care
Right.
what you did to me. Like you can never burn those bridges, because when money's involved, they can always be repaired. So from an NWA standpoint, I think that's what it is. From an Impact standpoint, I kind of agree with you. I don't know if there's a lot over there. Primarily, like looking at the Empower kind of roster, there are some good women wrestlers over there. So I do think that if Impact's going to get anything, it would probably end up being either some women's matches, like one-on-ones, or possibly some tag teams. There is a tag team match. Just looking at the Empower roster, they appear to have a couple tag teams that I think, especially with the Knockouts tag teams, bringing over any women's tag team for just, even if they don't win, just a short program would be a good idea to freshen things up, especially if you're, until you can get more tag teams in there. So from an Impact standpoint, that's where I think they would benefit, but that's just me.
No, I think you're right there. I know you mentioned Mickey and we haven't touched on that, so I'm going to touch on that really quick. But I see a lot of people say, well, why would we help out NWA? Why would we help out ROH? They wouldn't piss on us when we were on fire. Well, here's the way I look at it. One, it's good karma. I believe in that shit. But two, and it's good business.
Yeah.
But the most important thing is this. I think every wrestling promotion, when the Forbidden Door open and going on, realizes that capturing all the wrestling fans at once was lightning in a bottle during the Attitude Era in WCW. The likelihood of an NWA, an ROH, an Impact, a AEW, a WWE even, to, in the future, hold all the power and all the wrestling, it's not going to happen. So why not build the industry and bring whoever you can along, build it up so all of our guys have somewhere to work, just like the territory days, and then there's interest on every show, and then, hey, if you like Impact's writing, you watch Impact. If you like their writing and roster. If you like, so it gives you those options. I don't think there's anything wrong with putting our arm back and pulling someone with us. But as far as Mickey goes, it's really simple. Yeah, you could thank Mickey for all of this, AO said there. And obviously Billy Corgan alluded to it. It's because I've said it about Mickey since the show started, and I'll continue to say it to the day I die. She wears the pants, the strap on, everything in those relationships. Mickey does what she wants, and she makes it happen, and she did it here. She told him to shut the hell up. This is good for business. Let's make it happen. And that's what it should be.
I agree.
Yes, Mickey James is a badass. And moving to number 3. It was revealed earlier in the week, beginning of the week, by Impact executive Leonard Asper that a new distribution deal is coming very, very soon. How do you see this working? Do you think, obviously, there's nothing really revealed on it, but do you see this going to be a major TV deal? Will it be worldwide? How do you see this playing out, Max? Thoughts on this distribution deal?
So I don't know if it would be a new TV deal, just because, like, they're owned by Anthem, who has their own TV show or their own TV network. So I don't know if they would be like, you know what, let's pull our because it's their most popular show on their
By
network. So I don't know if they would be willing to say, hey, let's pull our most popular show and put it on TNT or TBS or something. That would it would benefit Impact, but would it benefit them? I don't know. I really hope it's with a streaming platform, something like Hulu or something like that, to where they basically say, hey, Impact's live on Thursdays, we release the episode on Fridays, or you can also watch it live on Hulu, something to that effect. I feel like that would be a better distribution deal than on a new network. Now, obviously, a network would be phenomenal, but I just feel like a streaming platform would really be their best option to get them to the widest viewing audience.
Yeah, I'll keep this one short. I know we've talked about it on What's In, especially in the chat group. There's three that really stick out that people mention, and they're all in the same mindset of Max, which is we have Access TV. Could they work something out where we also air it on Access TV because the reach isn't as much as a TNT TBS, which I don't think is the deal, but you know what I mean? It's possible. It depends on how much that money is in that deal, which right now I couldn't imagine it being enough for them wanting to take it off their channel. Now, there's three things that keep popping back up that people keep talking about. DAZN, how do you say it? DA's or DZ blah 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 whatever. The MMA and fighting boxing one that MLW had tried. Yeah, it's the one UFC airs on, I believe. So that's one to take in consideration. That's $20 a month for subscribers, and you get stuff live and pay-per-view events as well. The other one is Paramount Plus, which I would love for them to be part of, because we also
She already gets
get it for free
me.
through Max. Hulu, you know, I don't hear that mentioned much, and that for good reason. It's a bigger deal. Now, obviously, Asper does not tweet unless it's something legit, especially about wrestling. The last time he tweeted was something big news coming, and it was AEW champion versus Impact champion for the first time, and that belt being on, both belts being online. So I can imagine it's going to be something bigger, but I don't think it's as big as Hulu. That's also partly owned by Disney, which is partly owned by Vanguard, and that's just a conglomerate that I want to keep the fuck away from, to be honest. If our show shuts off right now, it's because they're watching.
I'm telling you, Disney picks Impact to take on WWE.
WWE. WWE is going to be with Disney. But sticking to the point, I know NXT is with those fucking colors.
Yeah.
YouTube TV is something that I've heard and thought about for quite a while, even before he put out this tweet. Then they moved everything to YouTube. Then they made that YouTube Insider, Impact Insider on YouTube. And they're working out the kinks with that, but it seems to be everyone's finally all right, shutting up and going along with it. It's a great deal. It would make sense for them to have an easy in. This isn't wishful thinking. It would just make sense if they're expanding their relationship with YouTube, which they already have 4.23 million subscribers, to keep. And they're also doing those little clips. I just think their revenue stream, and they're trying to monetize YouTube as much as possible. So YouTube TV would make a lot of sense, which would mean you pay for it just like live television, and you could watch us live.
So do you think that what would end up happening in that case is access would be added to YouTube TV, I guess?
Yes.
So it would be the whole... It wouldn't just be Impact. Yes. It would be their whole station.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. That's a possibility.
Yeah, just because, like you said, the access, it is by far... Anything Impact is by far the biggest draw Access TV has. But now that they're acquiring Invicta and all these different little things that they are and building their portfolio, I can see YouTube then taking a chance on something. And everyone says, oh, well, AEW didn't bring viewers. In today's world, the Nielsen ratings aren't the end all. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we say it all the time. They're not the beginning, the end, and you know.
Well, what's funny to me about the Nielsen ratings is, if you remember, and obviously you were alive for the Monday Night Wars, I never once heard people during the Monday Night Wars talk about the demo. Well, what's the 18 to 49? Now, that's all they care about, because they basically pitch whatever's better. The problem is, if you look at, I mean, I know this isn't Impact related, but like Impact and AEW, they really gear themselves towards that 18 to 49 crowd. WWE gears themselves towards kids.
Right.
Like, so the Nielsen ratings are so skewed in what you're looking at, because if Barney obviously isn't hitting the key demo of 18 to 49, but it's still killing it. So it's just like the Nielsen ratings are so horrible. And also, you can't track what's on the app, what's on YouTube. I don't know if Nielsen ratings track what's on Sling or Hulu or things like that. So they're horribly inaccurate.
They have admitted, and now they're getting audited, so I know the Nielsen ratings are going to change drastically. We haven't changed them in 98 years, so there's something there. If a car part was the same for 98 years, we always use the Oldsmobile or the fort, people would flip the fuck out. So obviously there needs to be changes because not everything is dogma. There should not be dogma in anything. And obviously as technology grows, this should grow because our YouTube numbers are up. Since last episode where I announced talked about that we were 593,000 Twitter followers, we're already up to 595. So there's other impressions in things that gauge the temperament of where Impact is. Ticket sales. That's obviously something. We haven't tested that yet. Now we are. Nielsen, obviously, pay-per-view buys. Nielsen ratings, obviously, are a part of it as well. Advertising, YouTube hits. YouTube,
App
exactly.
downloads.
+3s, +7s,
people
Sling,
download the app.
all these other things that people watch it from. So when people say, oh, well, Kenny didn't bring this, the ratings on the Nielsen, maybe. But those +3, +7s, you don't know. Those pay-per-view buys, you don't know. You don't know the YouTube.
Like I said.
So I think there's a lot more to it that we all need to be patient with. But it's going to be big. And it's going to be good for Impact.
Like I said, my parents are part of the Nielsen rating now. It's 20,000 people. Each person is technically equivalent to 10,000
like that.
people. So they don't even get Access TV. So so by putting them in a thing, there's 0% chance. So it's
Right.
things like that. But I do think that Access needs to adjust their programming because right now the big interview with Dan Rather is on, and
18 to 49, man.
followed by Shania Twain, Still the One.
All right.
Followed by the big interview with Dan Rather, and then Shania Twain, Still the One.
So maybe not YouTube TV. We'll see. Craig, what's hit us with number 4?
Just quickly, maybe this is biased, but I hope it's a UK deal. It's the one they talk about a lot. Impact UK Twitter mentioned it a lot. So, move on to number 4. Again, this past week, Jade Chung, the wife of Josh Alexander, live on Twitch at Blue Jays game, I believe, with the Walking Weapon, with the Iceman, and with Scott D'Amore. Scott D'Amore dropping some huge hints. Well, not hints, names. Just no hints. Just saying who's coming. If you haven't seen it, I believe we have a video for people to check it out.
I'll cue it now.
Hey, Iceman just said tune in this Thursday night when Buddy Murphy debuts on Impact Wrestling.
Is that what you said?
Yeah.
What's the intel?
Buddy Murphy debuts Thursday on Impact.
Can't say nothing yet. Can't say nothing. I'm not allowed to tell any intel until BTI this Thursday, 7 o'clock, live on Access TV. Check it out.
And don't forget, after BTI, we've got Impact Wrestling 8 o'clock on Access TV.
Yeah.
Let's go, Buddy!
Don't forget Impact Plus Up, where you can catch all the specials. You can
Hey,
catch
don't
all
forget,
of
we're on the road
shows.
to Braun for Glory.
Do I need to repeat that? I hope you guys got that. Yep, we're on that road to.
That's called an Easter egg, kids.
So, yeah, there it is.
Yeah, so, and not only Buddy Murphy and Braun Strowman, but Bray Wyatt's also been rumoured. Obviously, the IInspiration, Zicky Dice, as so many names that Impact are reportedly going after and reportedly have signed. Where do we see this going? How big of a deal is this? And just what do you think their plans are, Jeff?
Well, first, I want to say that I don't know if in Canada, and our finally Canadian listeners can attest to this and tell us if we're wrong, but in America, at least, Easter egg does not mean spoiler. Easter egg means like a little hint. But he went out there. Everyone was, some people were upset that we didn't hear anything on this Impact about it. Okay, first of all, this is Jade Chung, who's not an Impact employee to my knowledge, the wife of Josh Alexander. I mean, she does her own things, but obviously it's Josh Alexander, who is an employee's wife, at a Toronto's Blue Jays baseball game with the boss, who's obviously either high or drunk. Okay, allegedly. Okay.
Yes.
So, or both. And sometimes we get happy and we want to tell people their Christmas presents when we get a little inebriated. I don't think he's bullshitting. I don't think he gives a fuck. I think it blew up the internet. It was Impact on Access TV was trending. Even Tommy Dreamer posted it the day after. So yesterday, Friday. You know, this is a great time for Impact Wrestling, and if all the people you mentioned, Craig, on top of the people we do know from AAA that are coming, and then this X Division champion returning, which we obviously saw TJP did, but I have been told that there's a couple more, so we should be patient. I think Josh is going to, that's a different thing, but I think Josh is going to do an X Division championship, kind of a series with all different X Division champions, and I think that's where that's headed. But yeah, man, I don't know where to go next to answer. There's just a lot of information. Obviously, Max is going to have a lot to say about it too, and obviously we'll talk about it more for Bound for Glory. But I'm not a huge Braun Strowman fan. I don't want to just change my tune because now it's alleged that he's coming to Impact. But what changed my mind is the response from fans of all different spectrum coming out and being excited about Braun Strowman or that news of Braun Strowman. I didn't realize he had that draw. He never drew me, and I'll give him the chance when he pops on TV to do it for me there. But that's a big signing. Buddy Murphy, who you would say, and granted, none of this is 100% true, but I guess, you know, from the video, it would be, well, we'll just let that make your own opinion on that, if it would be stupid for him to say that if it's not true. But Buddy Murphy has all the tools to succeed in AEW. Everyone, his wrestling style, his lack of gimmick currently. Nah, man. Buddy Murphy, as Max has said, for over, is it 6 years? Over around 6 years plus when we had our old show.
I mean, it's since he was a part of the Blake, Alexa, and Murphy factor at NXT. I've been preaching this man's amazingness,
and that's the term I'm going to get to. It's star power. I think this guy has the star power to not be I want to wrestle. That's it. Obviously, from his videos that were. We got confirmation were through EC3's production company that he works with there, in making those packages. It looked like he was going to AEW. His skill set makes sense for AEW. I think when you are a star about to shine even brighter, you make a move like this because now you know Impact. One, you're smart enough to look at the landscape and say, okay, I have a bigger opportunity at Impact, at least developing, because I'm going to have more time. No matter what way you look at it, look at the All-Out pay-per-view. That thing's packed with quality talent. And you're still leaving quality talent off. So one, he's got a bigger opportunity. Two, he knows that Impact probably, pound for pound, has the best characters in wrestling. They develop personalities. They allow you to try new things. They allow you to market yourself. They want that. They let you keep your name. This is the artist's wrestling promotion. And I think he fits in there well. And it surprised me that Braun does too, meaning he chose this knowing. Now, could he just be drinking buddies with the Good Brothers? Sure. But I think there's more to that. And let's not take into, obviously we'll talk about the IInspiration as well, who I'm not sure where they're going. Obviously their tour kind of makes me weird because Impact doesn't tour, but that could just be a phrasing. But you got to look at this as an Impact fan, take a step back and say, if we get Braun, Bray, well, we didn't mention Bray yet, but if we get Braun and Buddy, that's a big coup alone. If you add IInspiration and Bray Wyatt to that, that's insane. The roster then becomes one of the best in the world. I already think it is, and I know that's biased, but I think pound for pound, we will be the best Raw. I mean, I know it's CM Punk and all that, but come on, guys. With top to bottom, thank you. I just, I'll kick it to you, but there's so much we could talk about here, but thanks to Scott for doing that. Thanks for, if this is true, them two taking a chance and coming to Impact. And I also want people who are iffy about Impact and their money situation and if they're going to make they're so small. Look, Carl said it. this is the last of the intimate tapings. Because from after Bound for Glory, they're going full tilt. Which means to me, they have a lot up their sleeve. They're ready to spend money. They have money to spend on a hot free agent up-and-coming star like Buddy Murphy, a hot free agent and a huge name to a lot of people in Braun Strowman. They have the money to, we thought was a lock for Bray Wyatt to go to AEW, but they got enough something with that management and their roster to try to get Bray to think twice. You have so don't ever doubt, do not sleep on Impact anymore. Because there's no, if this is all true, you shouldn't have a reason to.
So first off, I loved the Braun for Glory line. I thought that was super cheesy, and I thought that was great. I don't know if you guys know, Braun Strowman posted a tweet yesterday. Remember in life, if you're going to do something, make sure you make an impact. Carve your name in stone. #Titan. So, and I agree with you, G. I'm not a huge Braun Strowman fan. But him versus Morrissey, that's a match I'd pay to watch. I'd fly someplace to see that match. That would be great. He's also improved a lot from what he was to the end. He's a huge he can be your Abyss to where he's just a monster that runs through people. So I think he would be a great addition. When it comes to Buddy Murphy, you are right. I've been drinking the Buddy Murphy Kool-Aid for 6 years now. If given the choice between Buddy Murphy and the return of AJ Styles, I'd pick Buddy Murphy. Mostly because AJ's 44 years old. And Buddy Murphy has 10 plus years to go. But that's the thing. Like, he's not only like and it started off, I really liked him, and it started off as a joke because I knew it annoyed you, mostly with the Wesley Blake part because he was a little better than trash. But Buddy was always amazing. I mean, he was. Wesley wasn't great. Clearly, he was the Marty Jannetty of that tag team. But Buddy Murphy's was amazing when he did the Cruiserweight Classic. When he turned into a Cruiserweight, he was out of this world good. He was good when he was Seth's lackey. He was great there. So he has the talent to be an absolute star. If it was him versus Josh Alexander at Bound for Glory, I might consider flying out to Vegas for it. Like it would be that big of a match to me. Like it would instantly, I will tell you, that would be match of the night. I don't care what else they put on the card. That to me I would 100% guarantee that would be match of the night between those two, just with what Josh Alexander has done and what I've seen Buddy Murphy do. So I think getting these people on in Impact, like you said, it's not just a step in the right direction. It's a huge splash because these are big names, and these are guys that people on Twitter have talked about, at least Buddy Murphy, how well he would fit in AEW. And when you talk about, this guy would be great in AEW, he has matches already set with Andrade, and he'd be great to see against this guy, and oh my gosh, him and Darby, that'd be so great. And he's like, I'm going to go to Impact. Like, that's huge. Like, it's very similar to me when we saw Jay White show up on Impact. Right. Granted, it was because of Finn Juice, and he was pushing that match that he had at Resurgence. But, like, New Japan said, we're not going to have Jay White show up on AEW. We're going to have him show up on Impact. Like, it's that type of a splash. Oh, my gosh. Like, this is huge type of thing. And it is. If they're getting these guys, if they do start, I really think that after Bound for Glory, I think they're going to start, if not touring, moving into a much more like 2-week taping schedule and then moving like within the areas. Maybe it's just up and down the East Coast or something like that. But I do think this is a step in the right direction. If they get these people, I think it's massive for Impact. And I agree with you in the point that top to bottom, like if at this point now, if you're saying Impact doesn't have anybody good enough, like I heard people talk about, Impact doesn't have anybody good enough to go against Kenny Omega. Like, it's clear you don't watch the show. Like, if that's your point. But if they add Braun Strowman and Buddy Murphy and you still don't think they have a legit, like, top to bottom main event roster, you're a fucking idiot. That's literally that's the only thing I can say. You're either super biased or you're an absolute idiot, and those are the only two options. Sorry, like that, and that's just the truth.
Yeah,
Like,
you know, it is hard. See, back when people say, "Oh, Moose isn't shit," Josh isn't shit, all these things. You know, we have our opinion. I say, well, I think very much otherwise. But Kenny coming over here, that's one of the parts that's very underestimated. Is that he was seen as maybe the biggest star outside of WWE active. Obviously, CM Punk is now is the one that was in waiting. He gave the rub. You could see Moose as a leading guy, and you see everyone on the internet say Moose is a leading guy.
he didn't beat Moose clean. He needed help to beat Moose.
Sammy,
he gave him the same rub he gave.
Right, and he gave that to Moose. You know, Alexander got that, I think, just even in that backstage segment, the acknowledgement of, you know, so I love his time here. I'm not going to complain about it, and I know I don't want to get off subject. We'll get to number 5 so we can hit the Bound for Glory because we're going to talk about all this anyways. But yeah, man, you know, obviously if Bray was official, that would be my biggest holy shit. But the fact that we're in contention, it says a lot.
But I still think Kenny Omega, once he loses the AEW title and takes some time off, I think he comes back to Impact to wrestle a bunch of people to where he can actually drop matches, and it doesn't have the "I'm the champion of AEW" over his head, to where he can just wrestle, like set some dream matches for him. I really think he does it, assuming at that point the Forbidden Door is still open.
All right, so moving on to number 5, try and keep this short and sweet. Bound for Glory is rumored to be taking place. Obviously, it's happening in Las Vegas, but it's rumored to be taking place at Sam's Town Casino. Well, how do you feel on this? Is it the right move? How do you feel, Jeff?
Oh my god, yeah. So keep it short and sweet. I know a lot of people are disappointed. It seats up to 1,900, so it's not huge. But if you were to ask me, you know, before we saw the crowds, how lively they were at the last tapings and Slammiversary as well, I'd say 1,900 is a big number for us. So even if it's 12, which depending on how they set it up, which is what I'm going to get to in a second, because it was everyone's biggest complaint. Even if it's 12 and it's all Impact fans flying in, it's going to be a great show. Because that is 6 times, if not more, what was in there for Slammiversary. So could you imagine if it's all Impact fans making that destination, you know, Las Vegas the destination to do it? It doesn't matter if it's Sam's Town or you know, the Bunny Hill Ranch, or whatever the fuck it's called. It's off the strip, which, let's be honest, do we really want people at our biggest pay-per-view that don't know the product? Do we want... The diehard fan wants to go to that. The diehard fan is going to pay that premium price to do so. So I don't think being off the strip is really a deterrent. I think it actually might benefit them. But if we had the chance at MGM Grand or, you know, even Orleans Arena, of course we would take it if we thought we could sell it out. But there's no one we can announce today that would sell out those big places. Unless the Forbidden Door was all World War III and that's what we thought was going to happen. I think it's closing a little more because of the CM Punk. That, you know, that's a big rub. I don't know if they give that to us because they're on the, you know, train of whatever. But yeah, long story short, I don't mind it. I'm okay with it as long as it's packed and as long as it's actually, lack of better terms, decorated to make it seem important. And what I mean by that is the ambiance, the staging. When we see it, and the people's complaint is the carpet's brown and the guardrails look stupid and there's no mats outside, so it does look very bingo hall-y or, you know, room at the Masonic home kind of shit. But I think if they put a little extra money into the arrangement of it and make it feel different than feels on Impact, I'm okay with it. It's about making this night feel important, and as long as they do that, that's all that matters to me. And 1,200 people is going to feel like 10,000 if these people that we're talking about come through and the matches happen that we think are going to happen.
So first off, I'm looking at the place on reservations.com. Rooms look nice, which is good. They got a bowling alley, so that's nice to know. But I think so. Would it have been nice for them to shoot for a place that can hold, like you said, MGM Grand?
Sure.
That would have been great. The problem is when you're picking a location, especially like Vegas, I would much rather them say, you know what, let's go with a smaller place and we guarantee we sell it out. Then let's go to MGM and now we can only film from one direction because half of the arena is empty. We got a bunch of random ass walk-ins who look like they have no idea what's going on and don't really want to be there. Like one of the advantages to when we went to Slammiversary was our tickets were like $300 for the whole package. You knew when people were paying $300 for a ticket, they were going to go there, they were going to be excited, and they were going to be loud. There wasn't a single outside of that one dude who, for some reason, apparently was Kenny Omega's biggest fan ever. I think he may have been Kenny's son or something. Outside of him, everybody there was like super like into the matches. They were cheering who they were supposed to. They were like they did everything well. So getting 1,200 people in there who you know are Impact fans, who you know are going to be excited about it, who you know are going to be loud, is better to me than going for a larger venue and getting people who are in.
I just want to touch that real quick. Yeah, I agree on that. The one thing before I forget it that I want to mention, maybe you could touch on that as well, is 50% capacity, say, at MGM Grand, while paying the same 100% premium, is not a gamble Impact's ready to take right now once they're spending. Yeah.
Correct. No, I agree. Like if to rent MGM Grand, it's gonna be expensive, and if you only sell out 50%, like you're not gonna make your money back. Especially on top of that, I don't know if they've mentioned it. You may know better than I do. Have they mentioned are tapings also going to be at this location?
They haven't yet. Okay,
so if they are going to do tapings, it makes much more sense for them to let's just say if it's 1,200 people, after they set everything up, it's much more feasible for them to say, hey guys, we're also going to throw in, let's just say 2 tapings is what I would like to see them do for 2 episodes. We can get 1,200 people. You're not going to do tapings at MGM Grand.
Right.
Because not only do you have to then book on you selling out Bound for Glory, you then have to book on you selling out taping. Like, you're just not going to do that. So then what you would have to do is you'd have to rent a separate location for tapings.
Yeah.
In Vegas. So I feel like you can say, hey, let's get this. It gives us more people. But even at where they are now, one of the things that people have talked about online is how good the crowd is. And that's when you get even with the Impact Zone, when you got a small, energetic crowd who wanted to be there and who liked the product, to me, that's better than getting a large, half interested, half I walked in to get out of the heat and got a free ticket.
The difference is in money helps, but invested. They're invested in what's going on. If it be expensive because of the ticket, or it just be they're fans of Impact. But I agree completely.
Yeah, so I think this is a good place. I think it's smart. I agree with your whole about being off the strip. Being on the strip is cool, but to me, it's I don't know. I don't think it's that necessary. They're not UFC. No. They're not WWE. They're not AEW. Right now, being a smaller promotion for what they are, aiming for sold out, passionate fans is what Impact should be going for right now. And then that's going to give them a better bang for their buck on pay-per-view when people watch.
I agree. Craig.
Yeah. So there's the hot topics done for another week. Believe we have some Bound for Glory stuff to talk about in the next bit.
Yeah, let's kick it to our friend at the Apron Bump for another wonderful commercial, and we'll be right back.
What's up, everybody? I am the hardest part of the ring, the host of the Apron Bump podcast. Ugh, Another wrestling podcast. How many times can I listen to fans tell me who needs a push, who doesn't need a push, who brings Vince's coffee these days? Enough! The Apron Bump is about the journey. It's about nostalgia. It's about discovering new forms of wrestling to really tickle your pickle as a wrestling fan. The podcast brings you reviews of wrestling events all over the world, whether it's WWF, WWE, WCW, ECW. We even cover the golden eras of Ring of Honor, Progress, TNA, and more promotions in the future as well. New episodes every Wednesday. Bump day, yeah? Go to apronbump.com or go to your favorite podcast platform or YouTube and subscribe today for the most diverse, fan-friendly wrestling podcast in the world. I'm Hard.
All right, go check them out. I think we'll be doing a little something with them soon. And he does TNA, so go check that out. It's awesome stuff. All right, so yeah, we were talking about Bound for Glory. We're going to do that. Now we're going to keep on that. All three of us here are going to talk it out. We did a segment like this about, like I said, earlier in the month when we were kind of just speculating and making up our dream ones with the Forbidden Door. Now we're seeing it's going to be, yes, the Forbidden Door involved, but maybe on a lesser scale, which if these signings are true, I'm okay with. So let's play around and talk about, obviously, everyone will be available for Bound for Glory except Bray Wyatt as far as who we've mentioned already, Iconics, Braun, and Murphy. Let's start and see where we go with this. I had originally Moose with Okada, but I think Moose is going to be the one that takes down Christian. It makes sense if he does it, and Braun comes out at the end after he wins. That's the way to close a pay-per-view.
Real quick, guys. I know I don't want to interrupt, but I noticed something. NWA 73 that's happening tomorrow. Crimson is wrestling, so make sure you check that out. That's Jeff's favorite wrestler.
I'll never get those 10 seconds back in my life, Max.
It was worth it.
All right. So, Craig, when we start you, man, do you see, that being a possibility where you mentioned it, and now, granted, we won't give him his name notoriety because it's usually wrong, but there has been rumors, and we've speculated, of Bound for Glory series returning, starting after Victory Road. What do you think, and do you think that's what we see as the main event, Moose vs. Christian?
I don't know. I mean, honestly, I can't look past Victory Road at the minute. Because now does feel like the right time for Ace Austin, but Christian's only just won it, so
yeah.
I don't see Moose being in the world title match of Bound for Glory. I don't know who it will be. I just don't see it being Moose. I'm hoping Ace Austin wins. So I think it's gonna be Ace Austin versus, I don't know, maybe Bray, Trey.
So you think we go
don't see it being,
the younger route?
Yeah, I think if obviously Impact's history with building stars is obviously well known. I think if you want to push someone, if you want to make these stars, especially at this show with all the people coming in, if the new Wise going to potentially be on the show, that's how you go with it. You put your two people you want to build the company around, two people you see as the future, or the present and the future. Put them at the top. I think Ace and Bay, I think.
See, I agree with everything you're saying, but I don't think Ace versus Bay sells pay-per-views. I don't, not right now. Like you said, they are our future, but Moose is still our present, and he hasn't even got a chance yet. But it's possible. Ace could win. It makes sense for Christian to drop it to someone, but if the AEW Forbidden Door is still going to be teased on the Bound for Glory teaser, I just think at least Christian. They're not going to do Christian like that, man. I don't know. Max?
No, I actually agree with you. I feel like Moose, I was torn between Moose and Alexander. Josh Alexander doing the option C and turning it in, but I feel like Josh has a different opponent in mind, a different opponent scheduled for Bound for Glory, and I think although right now you say Moose is super far out of the title picture, and I agree. The thing with the Bound for Glory series, though, is it's an automatic setup for whoever you want to get there. You have them win the Bound for Glory series. It could be fucking Shira for all we know. If he wins the Bound for Glory series, he gets the title shot, so it works. So I feel like it is. Moose is running dangerously close to me with the whole Becky Lynch thing in WWE, to where she had failed so many times to be champion that it got to the point where you're like, she either has to win or very similar to the Tyler Black in ROH, to where he has to win very shortly, or else it's going to get to the point where I just don't. When he finally does win, I'm like, well, cool, whatever. Like it took too long. So I do feel like this is time. I agree with you. I don't think they're going to do Christian dirty. I think Christian versus Ace Austin is going to basically cement Ace as a star and as a future champion. But I feel like they're going to give it to Christian. He beat Kenny Omega. You give him the push till Bound for Glory, and you do Christian Cage, who is probably going to also be getting into the Hall of Fame, because I don't think he's in there, correct? He'll get in there as the champion, yay, and then Moose comes out and just shits on his parade.
I've been thinking that since all this happened, and since it seems like they have one foot out of the forbidden door toward AEW. I think this is the time to put Moose over, and I agree with you. You took the words out of my mouth. Obviously, it's very ironic that both Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins are the ones we're speaking of as people that are written off. But yeah, in ROH, he should have been champion months, if not a year prior, and they finally gave it to him right before FCW. So what the fuck's the point, And we don't want that with Moose. Obviously, he has a new multi-year contract, but I think Christian, who is a former, obviously, star in the TNA years, would make sense with Moose's narrative of taking down and being the best TNA champion bullshit. Plus the Hall of Fame makes a lot of sense for Christian to be the super face and get beat, and then Bray Braun comes out at the end as a stare down Moose versus Braun, which I think is a ticket seller.
Would be a great one, yeah.
So we'll do majority rules here. Sorry, Craig. But it's very possible that happens and this gets all scrapped and we start again. But I just think for pay-per-view purposes, unless it's something where they need to pull Christian, I think they do him right and he gets a shot here. So we kind of alluded to it, or you did there, Max. Let's talk about Josh Alexander. Craig, you started off here. We'll try to keep all this quick and keep it under 9 o'clock. Who do you think it is? Does he stay on that X Division Championship, whatever you want to call it, I guess, challenge?
Yeah, I think he sticks to former X Division champions. And I'm trying to pluck out a name, but nothing's coming to me. I mean, my hope would be Josh versus, I don't know. My hope would be Josh Alexander versus Sonny Siaki, but I think
that's your hope.
Yes, Sonny Siaki. Oh man, that's great, Craig. I love you. Holy shit. I thought you were gonna say I not him.
Rather see Josh Alexander versus Curry, man.
I mean, I'm not.
So Siaki could have been something so much better.
For sure. For sure.
But I think we're more likely to get Sonny Siaki versus Josh Alexander versus Matt Snyder.
Yeah, that'd be good. That'd be very good, and then with Forbidden Door being open. I'll let Max obviously give the answer we all expect Max to give. And just
it's going to be Josh Alexander versus the soon-to-be new X Division champion, Buddy Murphy. That's who it's going to be. He'll end the reign of Josh Alexander. We're going to have a title change fiesta at Bound for Glory. Yeah. At least at the top.
I could see
That's
it.
what I'm going with. Is my Bound for Glory X Division, because after Josh Alexander loses, it's going to push him into the main event.
And then that main event picture gets really interesting with Braun and Moose and now Josh, all big heavy hitters, man. We have some great big guys, man.
Yeah.
And we'll speak on one in a second. I agree with you, Max. I think Murphy versus Alexander or Matthews versus Alexander, as long as he doesn't come in as Josh's cousin or something.
He can come in as Josh's cousin for all I care.
He'll make it work. But
Very fair. But I think it's also something we can't write off of Craig's testament, which is the X Division challenge. I mean, Austin Aries is even quote tweeting it, well. And with the the looking eyes. So I think there's a lot of possibilities of who could come back. Once again, if they come back to wrestle this match, I don't give a shit who it is if it's exciting and it's a good match, and Josh is going to take it to the brink of that. But we're two against three again. Sorry. Oh wait, I gotta add Christian's last name so we don't get sued. All right. You know what? Some shit is that if Vincent, if you
does Edge have a last name? I know he has his real
he's just
or is he just Edge?
Yeah.
Can he I don't know. He needs a last name. He needs to come to TNA so they can give him a last
Sexton
name.
Hardcastle.
Impact, so they can give him a last name.
But no. So, damn man, you made me lose it. Yeah,
Buddy Murphy.
Not that.
For Matthews.
Is it 2 T's? You think? Man, whatever. Yeah, that could be it. Let's see. All right. Oh, Christian Kate. Yeah, so if everyone out there who's a WWE fan, which, I grew up one as well, so don't, no judgment here. But if anyone was confused if Vince McMahon has a God complex, the fact that someone named Christian can't use it outside of WWE seems it's fucking strange. All right. Next, let's keep going with the champions. Let's kick it over to Deanna. Craig, I know obviously Empower's happening as we speak. Obviously the chat's very quiet, which we expected, but who do you see her defending against?
I've said this since she was released, but I'm more confident now. I think it will be Mickie James, but I think by this time, Mickie James will be the NWA Women's Champion. I think Johnny goes on a belt collector run and a legend killer run, and defeats Mickie James for the NWA Women's Championship.
And you think they thank us by putting her over?
I think Mickie would.
I think so too.
Yeah, I agree, and then that eventually leads to Deanna versus Kenny Omega. I think for the ultimate bout, I think that could be. You know what? Not the Deanna versus Kenny Omega thing, but I'm actually going to agree with Craig. I think that Deanna versus Mickie for title versus title, well, titles. I don't know if Deanna's allowed to defend her AAA title in Impact, but we'll just go title versus title. I think that makes the most sense. I agree with that. I'll clap it up for Craig for that one.
They better fucking get a AAA's improvement before we don't want another New Japan situation where they don't talk to us for 10 years.
Well, that's because we gave her the British invasion.
But to touch on that, I firmly agree. I thought about it before what Craig said it from the get. I didn't really, back then think. I was like, oh, that'd be cool and stuff. Obviously, we thought Slammiversary. But the storytelling here where now she's beating up Mickie James or attacking Mickie James, it's really nicely done. So I could see that being I mean, look at that card already. And that's all plausible shit. Yeah. Very plausible. If we're going to say championships are going to be defended, are we going the route of DK still being champions? Do we look, we put out a poll and I obviously did not, I forgot to damn upload it, but DK wins every poll you put up there. DK is over with everyone, even outside of Impact.
They would still be awesome action figures. So I didn't vote for them. I voted for the the Legends, because that gives me an AJ Styles action figure to go with my red pants AJ.
They won't be selling AJ.
If they're going, I mean,
Yeah.
hey, but it's a
That's when
possibility.
they go.
That's the only
All
way
right,
I'm getting
all right.
AJ Styles.
Well, we got
action
10
figure from
minutes.
Impact. But I think Decay are still going to be the knockouts champion.
And I'm cool with that. I love that. The thing is, if we think some group of two are coming in, do we more so see it being the Influence holding the titles and then the Inspiration going after that? Or do we see that not even being for the titles?
So here's what I see. Looking at it, I don't think, as much as I would love to see the Influence come in and help out Taylor Wilde, I don't think they will. I could see them, because right now they're back to wrestling. They're doing a tour. What I could see is Decay versus the Influencers. Or
Okay.
Influence, whatever they're called. With the Influence winning, and after they win, Inspiration
Similar
comes
to
out at
Christian
that
Cage
point.
and Moose with Braun.
Correct. So
See,
that's how I could see that. And I really do think, as much as I like them, I do think that the Influence is going to end up winning titles. And then they'll freebird it with Caleb with a K, even though it'll be
Craig, what?
it'll be a knockouts
No,
tag team
Craig, what do you
champion.
got going on here, man?
But that's what I'm
Yeah.
going with. I'm going with Decay
Correct.
versus the Influence.
I think Decay will be champions. I think because of this, if this card does go the way it goes, and where it's looking, I don't see there being a lot of time for this match. So I think they'll make it a cinematic style match, under a realm match with Kimber and Sue.
If it's not someone else holding the title and it's Decay, I think you're 100% correct. It just the pairing of that is a draw, and
Yeah, I agree.
it doesn't make Decay feel like their second thought to possibly the Inspiration also being on the card. So majority here. So we're gonna go with that. We're gonna go. What would you want on the undead? The undead. That's what we'll call them. The undead.
Yeah.
Wow, that is a lineup so far. And I hope it's a cinematic one because I think there's a lot of cool shit they could do with the Forbidden Door open. Kiera died in Impact. Ethan Page died in Impact. Allie's dead somewhere in the Undead Realm. So there's a lot of cool people that can pop up. James Mitchell could be there. So there's a lot of fun stuff. All right, let's make it complete here and go for the tag team championships. We have 8 minutes. We're going to keep it to the 9 o'clock thing. So let's see, who do we think the Good Brothers are facing? Are they defending them? And so on and so on.
Yeah, they're defending them, and I think it's going to be Eddie and Sammy.
I could see that.
God, I hope not.
Well, what do you hope?
Oh, I'm down for that.
I do. So part of me, I would love to say GOD. It's not going to be them. I would also love to say the Dark Order come back around from, because I think Dark Order would be great at Impact. I think they could shine in there. But I do think it'll be Eddie. But I don't think it's going to be Sammy that's going to be his partner. He's going to reunite with an old friend, and it'll be the Good Brothers versus the Wolves.
Yeah.
Because Sammy is shit as a face, and he'll eventually turn on Eddie at some point because somebody's going to realize he's garbage.
I'm with you. I think the uncertainty with MLW, them contracts not even being legit in the sense of full term, they're just, per date. I think the Wolves come back. I would not be surprised if AMW came back as well, because that would be a banging ass segment. And I didn't mention that. I wanted to touch on that. I have it here real quick. Impact on XTV, that segment where it was Mickey out first. They showed a video package. Deanna and Matthew come out, and then everything goes down from there. Melena comes. That was, and Trey as well. Great fucking segment. Great segment. And I could see something like that happening. Good Brothers making challenges to anyone. We're the best tag team champions ever. Wolves come, and then AMW comes out, or vice versa. So I like that a lot. What do we want to put? The Wolves?
I think I like the
Okay,
Wolves.
we'll go with the Wolves. All right, so we have 3 other matches. I really hope one of them is a gauntlet for the gold, or the, what do they call your shot, Battle Royal?
It does have
Yeah, I think
that.
throw that in there.
Just
That's a good
because it
one.
gives a lot of the roster something to do, and there's a lot of talent there. So I like that there. There could be some surprises as well with the Forbidden Door. But this means Sammy doesn't have a match. And I don't think they put Sammy on an undercard or in the Battle Royal. I said originally Sammy versus Moxley. But at the same time, he trademarked Switchblades. So does that mean we get the Switchblades against Good Brothers, since Sammy and the Good Brothers have issues? Or Rich and Swan? So there's a lot of...
I think you could see Sammy and Moxley versus whatever. I don't think they have a name.
Oh,
Rich
yeah.
and
No.
do they have a team? Do they have a name? No. But I think I could see them. I could see them tagging because it gives Rich and them, Rich a spot on it. And I think Willie Mack may not be a big enough star, but Rich is a big enough star and he's someone you want to reward with a match. So maybe he's in the Call Your Shot Battle Royal, but I could see like the Switchblades versus Willie and
Swan.
for some reason I can only remember one of their names at the same time.
Yeah.
Swan and Willie for a number one contender
Craig,
match.
do you have some? It's 6 and 7 and 9. If there's a 9, we can kind of we don't have time. Well, we don't have time. We have 4 minutes. So Craig, do you want to say what you got there? And
Obviously, I had one more match I wanted to talk about. Once Craig's done.
See, my original thought was I'd put Moose in a tag team against Eddie and Sammy with maybe D'Angelo Williams. But if we're going Moose in the world title match, then I don't know, if we're going for a Sammy match, I think it's I really can't call that. I can't see where Sammy fits in.
Maybe
because Sammy and Eddie's done. It has to be. So I think I'll go Switchblades versus VVD.
I'll let you talk, Max, and then I'll wrap it up after you. Guys, if you're playing along or let us know your guys' thing in the comments or at TNAIW channel. Obviously, this is just us bullshitting, and there's a lot more chances we haven't talked about. Obviously Sammy, we're talking about him now, but I mean, Bay doesn't have a match in this right now. Ace wouldn't have a. So there's a lot of people that could potentially be here. We could see a what is that reversal? What's the damn King of the Mountain match? We don't know. Yeah.
King of the Mountain match we could. Well, speaking of Ace Austin, who does not have a match, one of the matches I think happens is Ace Austin versus Switchblade Jay White for the Never Openweight Championship.
Oh.
In terms of matches that would, and I guarantee Josh Alexander, Buddy Murphy, Matthews, whatever is match of the night, but Ace Austin Switchblade match for the Never. I mean, that would talk about blowing the doors off of it.
We're just gonna write that in for shits and giggles.
I think that would be. I think that would be. It's JAY.
Oh, that put JAY.
He's not that hip.
That's right.
I think that match happens just because I think you're still going to see Jay White in there. It also gives Chris Bay something to do because he can interfere or do it. So, and I think it can potentially set up a Madman Fulton, Ace Austin versus Jay White, Chris Bay down the line match as well to give them continued stuff. So
we have Victory Road first, as Craig mentioned. Obviously we can't overlook that. We don't know what will happen with that. But as far as fantasy booking, I would pay my left nut to watch this pay-per-view. And if we get to go see it in person, even more so. So, man, send us what you guys think. Any way you chalk this up, no matter if you agree with us or not, the possibilities are endless and they are all great. I don't think there's any way they could. I don't want to jinx it, but I trust that we will get one of the best Bound for Glories in a very, very long time. So, with that being said, next week we'll be back. We'll be preempted because I will not be here. We're going to film it early and either debut it on Saturday or Sunday on YouTube and podcast. So look out for that. And then the following week of September 11th, never forget, it will be the presence of Michael Cavaccini will be back, the author of the TNA 20th anniversary books that are soon to come out in the next year. So he'll talk about that. We'll catch up with him, see if he's got any little cool nuggets to give us, including some.
I saw him on Reddit,
yeah?
by the way. He was in the Impact channel talking about somebody mentioned something, he was talking about his book. I was like, I know that dude. I was like, somebody I know.
Well, we do know that dude. It's going to be a great show, so stay tuned for us. Thank you to everyone who's new that's coming in and giving us a chance. Impact is growing. We hope to grow along with it. This is about spotlighting Impact and making a community for all of us to get our different opinions in, but still respect and love and have a family atmosphere. So not PG, but you know what I mean. So keep adding us. If you're here and watching us on YouTube, we still have about 20% that watch us that aren't subscribed. So please subscribe. If you're watching us and you like it, give us the thumbs up. And then Twitter, you keep doing what you do because you guys are awesome. Thank you to the podcast listeners. Thank you to the YouTube watchers. Craig, Max, you want to say your byes?
Match 7, Suicide versus Curry Man. Book it, baby.
Craig, why don't you call us out, buddy?
All I have to say, just do the whole thing. Follow us, drop us a follow here if you're not already. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Do the whole thing. One more thing, Cristiano Ronaldo is a Man United player once again.
Awesome.
That's all.
All right, guys. Well, I got to run literally. I'll talk to you guys later. It was a great show. We enjoy talking to you. Last of the hour and a half, but bittersweet. But we'll see you next week for a packed show. Bye, guys.
Later.